my mind, right? Like you're already in that 1%, dude. You're successful. You're like in shape. You're living a very healthy lifestyle, physically, mentally, emotionally.
Welcome back to Podcast on Wheels. I'm your host, Brian Smith. For the second time, we have Mr. Sean Matson. He is a former Navy SEAL, now entrepreneur, co-founder of MATBOCK and CardoMax. Sean, welcome back to the studio.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it for having me.
Awesome, brother. So in the first show, we got to cover some family stuff, some background on how you got into Navy SEAL. So if people want to hear that, they can go back there. But for this show, let's talk more about your brands and what they are.
Yeah. So, interesting enough. So yeah, for me, go back like the first episode, right? I told like how, being a SEAL was what I wanted to do all my life. Like, well, basically since I was 12, right? So pretty much all my life. And I didn't really like want or explore or even think that, okay, I was going to be an entrepreneur or business owner, inventor. It just kind of stumbled across it. Like, so with MATBOCK, Zach Steinbach. So my last name is Matson. His last name is Steinbach. That's how we got our name. We just cut part of his last name, my last name, and came up with it. But we were actually flying on a training to a training site up in Alaska, and we came up with this new idea. And so we were yelling and screaming at each other in the back of a C-130, like in front of our computers, like designing this new cargo net system and all this stuff. And then we just kind of like, oh, well, we enjoyed working together and coming up with ideas. Guys were bringing us ideas, and we just thought, well, maybe there's something to this. But we never run a business, never brought a product to the market. And so we had to figure that all out. And so the initial concept of this idea was 2006. We formed the company in 2010. And we had both deployed two times during that time frame. So we'd finished training finally, got to our team, done 2 deployments. I was getting ready to go on my 3rd deployment, I think. So was he. And, we formed the company, started the company, and then really didn't get our first product on the market till 2013. So literally 7 years from the inception of this idea did we even get the product onto the market and get other products on the market. And so, it took a long time, but like it wasn't also a priority either, right? Like we both had full-time jobs. We both were doing what we wanted to do and what we loved to do. And, there's really not a lot of time, not a lot of extra time in the, when you're in the team. So, we were just doing it, in between things or, on breaks or whatever. So, we started the company, and funny story. So Melissa, who's my sister, she's now our chief of staff. She's been with us from the beginning. So I think it was on my 4th deployment or so, right before my 4th deployment. I handed her the laptop and I was like, hey, look, like if an order comes in, this is who you need to email this stuff to. This is what you need to do here, and this and this and this. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to contact you back in 6 months, but this is basically how you run the business. And she was like, okay, but like, what do I do if I can't get a hold of you? And I was like, I don't know. Try to figure it out. So, and literally like, came back and the business had kept going. And, so I was like, all right, sweet. All right. We're still growing. We're still doing this thing, but we just kind of let this kind of marinate on the side and just kind of keep growing organically with that. And then we talked about in the last one. So I went through a divorce and kind of like, okay, I need to get out of the teams, and this is not healthy to keep going. At the time I only had 2 kids. So Shelby and Tyler were younger. I was like, all right, I need to devote my time and effort into them. And really that's where I want to see. I want to see them grow, and I want to see them, go be successful at something. And so, and I didn't feel like I was going to be able to do both at that time. And so, be in the teams and try to be, a part-time dad. And so, got out, and really started putting the time and effort into the business. And so, now fast forward, so that was 2015. I got off active duty, and then I got out of the reserves in 2018. And so then, basically from then we've been able to grow this thing. And so now we're sitting at almost about 40 employees. So it's grown quite a bit.
Wow. That's amazing. So what are some of the cool things that maybe you've gotten to invent, create, work on, or something that company's been able to do? Because I know a little bit about what you guys do, but it's impressive. It's impressive.
So it's interesting, like, so some of the stuff, right, is, I mean, we're pushing some, technology limits and stuff like that. But one of the first products we ever came out with, which is still our number one selling product. So if you've ever worn night vision goggles, so the way that night vision works is basically there's a tube inside, and it intensifies. It's an intensifier that it takes any light source, even if it's like a cigarette, like the glow off of a cigarette. I mean, will illuminate into this. So it can be light under a crack of a door. I mean, it's crazy, right? But when you're walking around in night vision goggles or wearing night vision goggles, you can only see at one focal length. So think of this, like, basically you're wearing like binoculars, right? So and like it's true. I mean, you're wearing dual tubes, but so they're out to. So if I look at something up close, a door handle, or if you and I are, within arm's reach, like, you're just going to be this blurry silhouette, right? Like, I'm not going to be able to see any of your beautiful features, and it's just going to be big blurry Brian. And that's frustrating when I'm trying to put open door handles. I'm trying to read a door and how it opens so that I know which way I'm supposed to stack on the door to make entry into the door, or put a breech on a door, or driving vehicles. I mean, there's so many things that, I mean, it's hard to explain and visualize until you actually start doing it. But if you're stuck at only being able to see far and all this stuff up close, you're like, golly, it'd be really nice to be able to see up close, And so we stumbled across this. So what we were doing, in Iraq and Afghanistan in the early, like, parts of the war, like probably 2007-8 timeframe, we were taking our rubber caps and we were punching a hole in it. And what it was doing was it was essentially tricking your goggles and creating an infinite, like a pinhole effect, or like an infinite um, focal. So you can see near and far at the same time. The downside to it is because you've put this cap over there and you've got a tiny hole in there, you've eliminated how much light comes into the tube. So now you can't go into rooms that are darker, and then you'd have to just pull this off. So we developed an iris that could open and close, so that it would open and close depending on the ambient condition that you're in. So now you can see near and far at the same time without having to refocus your goggles. And so that's our number one selling product, and it still has been today. You're successful when the Chinese rip it off and they sell it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, but they've
even got our watermark on our products. So
our preacher said the other day, when he gets to pictures from his kid's school, he doesn't care that it says proof on it. He still goes ahead and frames it. So that's what they did, right?
That's good. Yeah.
Just went with it. So,
yep.
But you're providing those services, and taking care of a lot of cool things. So, but you were on the show last year. So over the last year, what has maybe changed? And you've grown obviously, because I think you were about 20 some odd employees last year. So now we're at 40. So talk to
Yep.
us about that, as far as the business owners here understanding running that.
Yeah. So I mean, one of the big things was in this last year, we did get a large contract to develop a new hybrid electric. So the next phase of the hybrid electric vehicle that we're doing. And so, again, you kind of look at it, you're like, all right, you guys, if you look at MATBOCK.com, you see, gear and products. But when Zach and I started the business, we always wanted to be a technology development company, right? So we've kind of got a lot of gear. We've stayed away from uniforms or anything like that. But at the end of the day, where our head was at when we started MATBOCK was, if I'm going to run this basically like my platoon, right? Like if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to go talk to Brian because Brian knows how to do it, right? Brian, I need you to solve this problem for me. You're going to be part of my team, right? And here's how we're going to do it. Brian, what do you need? Oh, hey, I need a Courtney who knows how to do this. I need a Melissa that knows how to do this. I need this person that knows how to do this. I was like, got it. They're all on your team now. Go do it, right? What other resources do you need? Oh, we need this. This go, right? Like you're building the team around the problem you're trying to solve. And then what we're doing is we're just sitting there making sure we're staying on budget, on time, with the right people, with the right equipment, and carrying out the mission, right? Like I tell people at the end of the day, right? Like it's solving a problem, and it doesn't matter what the problem is. I can solve a problem if you have a process. If you know that it doesn't matter if it's all right, I got a flat tire. All right, how do I change the tire? Right? Like it's a very simple problem, right? But you have a process to do that, right? And if you don't know how to do that, you go ask someone that knows, and then like you figure that part out, right? But if you just sit here and go, "Oh gosh, I got a flat tire," like I don't know how to solve this problem, right? Like it's a very simple example, but like you can take this to the most complicated thing, like I mean, I don't know how old if your parents are still living or not, but like, my mom is getting older, right? Like it's something that every day, like, it's like, man, it's just like, it's getting more and more and more. And it's like, it's going to be, and I don't say it's a problem, right? But like, you're going to have to deal with all the things that come with that as they get older and dealing with all these things. And it's like you could easily just be like, oh gosh, like I'm just not going to deal with it. It's like, but you have to, right? It's like, so, and everything in life, it doesn't matter where you're at, what you're doing. Every day you're faced with multiple things, and it's easy to either shut away from it or figure out how to build something, do something, and take care of those issues.
Mhm. And, I heard somebody say one time that, a lot of times as a business owner or in making a decision, maybe you could think about how you would coach your kids if they were faced with this. And you just kind of simplified it enough to where people can look at everything needs that process, right? So where did developing the processes and having the systems, is that something that's been instilled in you? Is that from military? Is that just, and then after that, kind of part two to that question is when you're bringing in people to the team or you're adding to your team, when you're trying to find those roles, how are you finding those people?
Yeah. So the first part, going to the process, right? Like, I mean, I stole it from what we learned in the teams because, and I've also told other guys that have been in the military that leave the military or looking to leave the military. I was like, like, oh, I want to go start a business, but I don't know how to do this. It's like, look, like you have built, or they want to look at like, do I even want to go explore this and start a business? And I'm like, look, like it's a very simple process, right? Like you did this 8 billion times in the military, and that's a mission planning, or it doesn't matter what it is. Like, hey, we are moving from location X, we're going to location Y, right? You're making a movement, a troop movement, or like flying to another location, right? And it's, again, it sounds easy, logistics. It's like you put all the knowns into here, you figure out what the potential unknowns are, you build little, like, oh well, maybe if this happens, we're going to do this, but right now I don't have to like totally get consumed with all these unknowns, because right now they're unknowns and they could not be a problem, right? Like, but they could be a problem, but you at least want to identify some unknowns that you don't know, right? Like, inevitably Murphy's going to come in there at some point. But you take all of these things and you just kind of go, okay, we're going from X, we need to get to Y, and you build out that roadmap and say, okay, here's all the things that you're going to do, right? And it's the same thing. And so in the military, and I think this is a pretty common term. I don't think it's just based off of SOCOM, but like units, but the SMEAC is what we called it. So situation, mission, execution, action. It's action and communication. So it's a 5 paragraph. It's a 5 paragraph op order or operations order, and you're basically just, okay, here's the situation, here's the mission, here's how we're going to execute it. You take your execution, you break it up into multiple phases. So there's the planning phase, there's okay, we're actually moving on this, and then we're actually like, we got to the target objective, now we're having to leave that target objective, now we're getting back home. So there's you break up the execution phase, and you put it into different phases in that as well, to go from there and back. And then your communications and your admin and logistics type stuff. So you build this all 5 paragraph op order, and it's just like, and as soon as you tell that to a military guy, they're like, got it. Like, literally, if you use that format, you can solve any problem, because it breaks it down very simple. You don't get overwhelmed by, oh my gosh, I got this problem to solve. Now, like, again, I wouldn't necessarily do that. I mean, you could use that method, right, for anything, but I wouldn't necessarily use that of like, okay, I got a flat tire. Like, okay, situation, okay, flat tire. All right, mission, fix my flat tire. Execution, like, I'm gonna call Courtney because I forgot the tire rod. Like, just.
I got you. I got you. And when you're, I know as a former coach and now business owner myself, it's like when we look to bring people in on the team, what are some criteria you guys use as far as how you search and find those people?
Yes, yeah, I forgot that was the second part of the question. I got funneled into the first one. So on that, I know there's like pros and cons to this, but a lot of the people we have within our organization are friends and family, and they're people that they're someone's heard about a job opening, so someone talked to this person, who's like, hey, like, everybody is like a degree or so of separation. Like, there's only a few people here that truly just came over the transom. Like, they saw a posting and were like, I'm going to give this. And I will say, they're great people, right? Like, they're awesome, and I'm glad that they found us that way, right? Because we would have never been able to connect if they didn't take that flyer on us, right? But I would say the majority of them are kind of one degree of separation from somebody within the organization.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think, you know, it obviously starts at the leadership and the top and the culture that you guys built. And as we listen to the show and how you run the business, that if everything's organized and everybody's communicating and everything is, what do you need to get this job done? That's the way you can work with family and friends, I believe, is because you're open and honest and communicate. And, you know, there's a trust there, right? There's, hey, I got your back. This
Yep.
is more than making the money. It's getting the mission accomplished, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, for you, and we talked about this a little bit in the first show, but what do you do today in order for you to be ready physically, mentally, spiritually? Like, I know you're going to do a workout somehow, somewhere, some way, but what are some things that you maybe over the last year have adapted or changed, or do you still have to set the reminder to stop somewhere on your iPhone, from your wife to stop on the way home like I do now that you taught me? But, how do you stay ready so that you're ready for your team, your family, all of the above?
Yeah, I mean, I've only embraced the reminders and uh calendar alerts more. Like I just the busier I get, the more things I put on my plate, I have to have that structure. I forget it. I mean, next Wednesday, Samantha and I've got a date. Like I've got it on my calendar
Right.
because the last few months we haven't had dates, and it's like we both got busy on stuff, and it was like, all right, we got to figure out when are we doing it. And so like our kids have a field trip, and we're like, all right, after that field trip we're going to go do a date, like just you and I. So like, but I had to put it in my calendar, like, or it's not going to get done, and we're going to forget about it, or whatever. Just life happens, and it's not that right or wrong or whatever. It happens, and so you have to be intentional with that. You have to be a steward of that. One other thing that I've really put into practice is previously I would and I've done this for years. I know I need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, so I would like I'm just that type of person now. Like I need that. Like I'm still good with waking up early and I'm still all this stuff, but I just like for me to run from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, because that's exactly what I do. I'm trying to maximize, every minute that my eyes are open. Um, I have to have that 8 hours of sleep, right? And but what I've really been doing and being really intentional with lately is, and I'd say probably in the last year, I've really focused on going to sleep and saying, okay, by 9:30, I have to be in bed. Like I have to be in bed because I'm up at 5, right? Like I have to be down so that I can get my workout in, so I can get the but like that is to me. And I've caught myself times where I'll like, oh, I wanted to get this last thing done with work or to do. And I'm like, nope, I
Right.
got to stop. Like once I get in that, I might be up to 10, 11 o'clock
Right.
trying to do that, where I just need to be like, okay, done, shut down. So I've really tried in the last year to be really intentional with that, to make that a habit of go to bed, like have a bedtime again.
No, and that's awesome to say. And I can say that I say 2 or 3 trips ago, I made a trip out to Vegas, and it was a business trip, but I was meeting some guys for the first time. We were going to go out to dinner. And I told this story on another show, but at about 9:55 Vegas time, uh, I, the table I was at, one of the guys goes, "Hey, if I don't go to bed now, 4 o'clock's going to be too early, and I got to be ready for tomorrow. We're going to bed." Like by 10:15, the table was dispersed, and we all went, on our way. And it's like it's really that simple sometimes, isn't it? Just making sure that you get your rest and you're ready to go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So if you and I may have an idea of how you would answer this, but I heard this asked to a guy the other day that's got a successful business. And so if you were starting a business today, a small biz from scratch, no contacts, no cash, like what would you do?
I mean, like the first thing I would do is I would just, well, first like I would start knocking on doors and just doing something, right? Like, hey, can I wash your car? Can I wash your house? Can I cut your grass? Like it finding some kind of service to do for somebody, because the beauty is yes, you're trading time for the service of something, right? But the beauty is it doesn't matter what economy you're in, it doesn't matter your education, it doesn't matter what assets you have. Like you can find some kind of service that you can provide to somebody and they will exchange it for money. right? Like, and it doesn't cost a lot of money, and it's such a. I saw some statistic of, and I don't know, I don't remember the exact number, but I was blown away by, it was basically like, and don't quote me on this, but let's say it's like 85% of like service based businesses are successful, right? Where it's like the normal small business, like 20% of businesses succeed. And it's like, that's just crazy to think about. But, home service, like servicing HVAC systems, cutting grass, like all of these things are, you're going to find people that want to, like, hey man, like, yep, I'll pay you $50 to cut my grass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just getting started and building the rapport and getting the reps. I love it because, I had that conversation with somebody the other day, and that was kind of my answer. So I feel better about my answer now that you validated it for me, sir. I do appreciate that. But as we kind of come towards the end of the show, one of the things that we talk about the most, and I don't want to miss on this show, is our family and things you get to do with them. So, um, as you've got your kids, they're playing sports, they're doing things the right way, doing things and being leaders. But tell us a little bit about having that rapport with them, teaching them, helping them, and then is it difficult on them to be a Navy SEALs kid? Is it more expected of them if they hear like have?
Yeah, I honestly, I haven't thought of that last question. Because I definitely don't feel like I put that pressure, but I don't. Something I'm gonna have to look at to think of and see that. I like that. I don't think so. I know, like my two older kids, like, Shelby is 16 now, Tyler's 12. My two younger ones, Maverick's 5, and Emery's 3. And it's so cool to see. One, I mean, they're in all different phases of life, right? Like, um, Shelby's getting ready to start driving. She's looking at colleges, and we got, going to going to kindergarten.
Right.
So, and the conversations with all four of them are extremely different. But, what I think is really unique about that though is with all of them, both Samantha and I have, like, just tried. Like, Samantha's really good at this. She's a lot better at this than I am in terms of emotions and communicating. Weird, a female's better with that stuff than a male, but um like that is something that, she really brings to the family in that regard, where she will just say, look, like, okay, we have an argument or we have a disagreement, right? Like any married couple will do. And if if for whatever reason, let's just say the disagreement happens in front of Maverick and Emery, she is very intentional with making sure Maverick and Emery hear the apology, or the, hey, listen, like, mom and dad had this disagreement. This is what it was about. This is, and making sure that they not only see the, hey, look, we had an argument. Okay, hey, look, they also see the reciprocal of it, to say, hey, look, like, because she wants them to understand it's okay to have those emotions. It's okay to feel that way, but you also have to be okay with the backside of that, and say, hey, look, like, being vulnerable on it, right? And saying, hey, look, like, I was wrong on that, or hey, that wasn't right for me to say that, or whatever. So, um, those are.
Yeah, no, I love that because that's something that, Courtney and I had the conversation the other day. It brings up a topic that we discussed about everybody knows how to have conflict, but how many people understand the resolution side? Because a lot of people don't show that
Yep.
side. You hear that. So love that story, bro. I haven't, I'm stealing it. I'm going to use it. And because God knows Courtney tells me I'm perfect, but every once in a while, I guess there's a glitch in the matrix somewhere, I mean,
Yeah.
every once in a
I
while,
hear you.
I fumble over something, I guess. But Sean, man,
Yeah.
um, you know, last question. What is the coolest thing about running your own business these days? What's the most something that gets you excited about it?
Uh, the most exciting part really is seeing everybody else win too, right? Like, because yeah, there's pressure, and yes, it's it's you know it's what keeps a business owner awake at night is knowing that whether you have you know 2 employees, 20 employees, 1,000 employees, like that's not just employees, that's families, right? Like that's 250, 1,000 families that are attached to that employee. So everything that everything that your decision making, everything goes into that family as well. And so um it's exciting to see because right, like it draws everybody, I think, closer into this stuff. I think that they enjoy the brand. They like want to see success. They want to see everybody succeed because at the end of the day it's like we're all getting to grow and we're all getting to do because the fact of the matter is that the business does better means we could pay more with this more, like, and not that pay is what everybody needs because I know, like we have people on our team, like they're really not here for the money. And I know people are like, oh yeah, everybody's here for the money. No, like legitimately, like what fuels them
Uh-huh.
is time off.
Uh-huh.
So like they're good and they're comfortable where they're at in their life and what they have. If I say, hey, go take the day off, or like that means way more than them than me giving them a $500 gift card. Sure, they'll take the $500 gift card. Like they like that, right? But like what truly fuels them is me saying, hey, take the day off, right? Go spend that time with your family. Go do this, right?
Yeah.
Because that's their that's where they draw that energy, right?
Yeah. And Sean, just as I wrap up here, tell the viewers where are you at right now? You live
We're in Virginia Beach,
Virginia Beach.
so our
So
headquarters is here in Virginia Beach.
yes, sir. And just a few shows ago, we had a guy in Vegas who's in real estate, and then we've had a guy in Miami. We're going to release in the next couple of weeks. Everybody's saying it's all about the people, and the more people that win, the better it is, brother. I mean, and I think now the audience is starting to see the vibe and the people that we're having on the show. It can be a different industry. And as you've just exemplified again, what an amazing person you are and your company and everything that you guys stand for and help is just, it's reciprocating those wins. And that's where the growth comes. And, we can say impact over income, but you can't have a whole lot of impact without a lot of income. I mean,
Yep.
you got to play it that way. So, Sean, thanks again for
Yep.
being on the show today, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. And guys, if you got some value from the show today, please comment, like, share this show, reach out to Sean, give him a follow, check out his stuff. It's pretty cool. Thank you guys for watching Podcast on Wheels.